Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and the Zuri-Invest event, and also to the night here. And we have first Majestic Silver here with Keith Neumeyer, the CEO. Welcome and good morning, Keith. How are you?
Very nice seeing you again here in Zurich.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. That's fantastic. Denver Gold Show is also going on and you are participating there. You faced, I would say, some hiccups in the company in the last, 2-3 years, I would call it. We will talk about that a little bit later. First of all, can you give us a bit of an idea what is going on in the company by now with the production? Where are the costs going? What can we expect from you 2023?
Well, for one thing, I've been in the mining sector for over 35 years. And the mining sector is very complicated. We're at the mercy of Mother Nature. Economics, inflation, metal prices. It's a complex business, and every decision we made, in the last 20 years has not been perfect. I wish it was, but there's hiccups along the way, and Jerritt Canyon was we bought that asset because we were quite excited about being investing in the United States, investing in Nevada. We're looking at other assets in the United States because we think the future is outside of Mexico. We're very pleased with Mexico, but at the same time we have to diversify our portfolio. So that was one of the key reasons why we bought Jerritt Canyon. We in hindsight we could have made different decisions, but at the same time, we have a great asset in our portfolio in Nevada, which we will develop and we will build from scratch. We had unfortunately inherited some bad practices as a result of that acquisition, and we were losing money on it. So as a business, I'm the leader of the business. I'm a big shareholder. So we had to make some tough decisions to shut it down and take a step back. And that's what we're doing, and we expect to restart it in the next 12 to 24 months. We'll see how things develop. But you got 3 million ounces of gold sitting in a great state. So it will, as far as we're concerned, be producing again sometime in the future. But we've got 2 great mines, San Dimas and Santa Elena in Mexico, which have a lot of growth ahead of us. As a result of shutting down Jerritt, we're now over 50% silver. I know we've made a lot of shareholders happy because when we bought a gold mine in Nevada, people were saying, "Hey, now you're less than 50% silver." Well, now we're over 50% silver again. So at least we put some smiles on some people's faces.
Okay, super. So I understand you're correct that with Jerritt Canyon, you are pretty sure that you get everything fixed. Maybe it will cost a little bit of money. That is for sure, because without an investment for the next, let's say, 1 or 2 years, it will not work. But you have a good feeling that you get that done.
We think so, and of course, we've got a lot of technical people that are looking at it.
Yeah, the expertise you have for sure.
It's not me. It's not just me. There's we have 5,000 people that work for First Majestic, and I think we employ something like 500 engineers and something in the order of 400 geologists. So there's a lot of talent behind the company, and they have particular views, and over time we'll see. And yes, it's going to take more money for sure, but it's a great location, great asset, and it's going to take some time.
Okay, let's come to the real happy things in life, Santa Elena, San Dimas. So what is going on there? Where do you see, let's say, the next steps for growth potential? And also maybe we should talk about costs, because I think this is something in that inflationary environment, something with silver today, 25.20, I think it was this morning, which is nice, but a lot of companies still have problems to really maintain their margins, right? And so how do you see the path for this year?
Well, one of the biggest costs in mining is energy. And I think we made some pretty smart moves. We converted La Encantada over to LNG about 5 years ago. And Santa Elena, was all diesel up until about a year ago. So now over 90% of the energy at Santa Elena is now LNG, natural gas. And that's really assisted us in not only environmental footprint, which is important, in today's, world, but also from a cost perspective. And we're looking for other ways of reducing cost through energy use. San Dimas, it's a little bit off the beaten track and a little bit more difficult, but we're looking at ways to actually potentially bring things like hydrogen or natural gas into the energy grid within San Dimas. So we're always looking for ways of reducing costs. We built a very large filter press at Santa Elena back in 2022, which has assisted us in also reducing costs. So yes, there's inflation, of course, but as a mining company, we'll always have to look at ways of reducing costs, and which we do.
Great. How about solar? Because it would be something natural as you are producing silver.
We've looked at, I know we've looked at solar, but and it is an interesting area. But the challenge is the batteries, because that's really what is going to cost you money. I love solar. We thank goodness for solar. The solar industry is consuming something like 160 million ounces of silver last year. It's a fast growing industry, likely to break through 200 million ounces. And the mining sector only produces 850 million ounces a year. So you've got electric cars and you've got solar panels consuming 30% of all silver being produced. So yes, but from an industrial perspective, it's for industry, it's somewhat difficult if you're in weather jurisdictions that maybe are not conducive to the use of solar energy.
Okay. What would be, let's say, aside of Jerritt Canyon, your most important investment projects for this year, maybe also for next year, to, let's say, maintain the growth, to make sure things are really going the way you want it, and maybe you have also some divestments?
Well, it's a good question, actually. And, this year, with Jerritt Canyon out of our portfolio, our CapEx has been reduced substantially. We're going to put out guidance in the next 6 or 8 weeks to show what the number actually is. But it's likely going to be 2023 I'm referring to. Probably our lowest CapEx year in maybe 3 to 4 years. Not that we're not investing big money. Most of our focus right now is on exploration. Jerritt Canyon is getting a lot of investment in 2023 in exploration. But San Dimas, Santa Elena, it's time to be investing in exploration. We want to see life of mines increasing. We want to upgrade resources, inferred and M&I up to reserves, and that's really the big focus. We don't have any really large capital investments right now, which is kind of a nice thing. It's because we've been expanding our mills quite dramatically over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's nice to see some of the money being diverted into exploration.
Fantastic. Hopefully with some very good results.
Yeah, we're hoping. We think so.
Great. Let's talk a little bit also about the market. I saw in your presentation a very interesting slide with an electric car, where, let's say, showing where silver is used. And I remember from the World Silver Council, when I asked Bradford Cook, who unfortunately died last year, when I asked him and said, hey, listen, how much silver is used in an electric car? And he said, well, it could be up to 5 ounces. Yeah. So how do you rate, let's say, the worldwide demand for electric vehicles, also, let's say, hybrids, because there we have maybe then 2 or 3 ounces built in. On the one hand, on the other hand, you named it already, solar is on a real growth demand, and this is not stopping. So how do you see supply, demand over the next years? And I think this year we are the 3rd year in a deficit, right?
The deficits now are historic. We saw 1.2 billion ounces of silver being consumed in 2022, and the mining sector produced 830 million or something along those lines. Call it 850. So, we have a 400 million approximate deficit in silver in 2022. The rumors are not the rumors, but the estimates in 2023 are a consumption of 1.4 billion ounces. And
1.4 now.
Billion, yeah. And the miners aren't...
From where does that come?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's coming from somewhere, obviously. Government stores or, wherever it's coming from. Who knows? But, eventually you're going to... we already know. I pick up the phone and I want to sell, a couple 100,000 ounces of silver, it gets done within seconds. So there's buyers out there. It's not exactly a market that we have to worry very much about. So consumption's there, fundamentals are fantastic. The solar panel industry, as I mentioned earlier, a couple of minutes ago, is consuming somewhere around 160 million ounces of silver. The electric car industry is consuming something like 80 to 90 million ounces of silver last year. And you look at the amount of electric cars that are being produced. There's 1.2 billion automobiles sitting on the surface of the earth right now. And governments around the world, we know here in Switzerland, Germany, around the world, the governments are pushing to replace the fuel combustion cars with electric cars. And there's only about 10 million electric cars sitting on the surface of the earth. And last year, about 4 or 5 million were produced. And of that 4 or 5 million, they consumed 90 million ounces of silver. So you do the math. That's a lot of silver that's going to be consumed over the next 10 or 20 years to produce enough electric cars to replace the current fleet.
So have you had already phone calls from, let's say, solar panel producers or even car makers that they say, hey, Keith, can you deliver us 100,000 ounces per month? But we are paying $30.
We do get emails and we do get contacted, but no, it's not to the level that you think. But on that note, it's quite interesting because the very famous mining conference, which is held every year in Florida, sponsored by BMO, Bank of Montreal, which is Canada's second largest bank, and it's the world's largest institutional mining conference, which we go to every year. They had 15 automobile companies present this year. First time ever. Last year, there was 0.
That's a sign.
So it's telling you something. So, I know they're looking at lithium and they're looking at nickel and things like that, but silver is in there, and copper, of course. It's just a matter of time. I think these end users of these metals, they're realizing, they're waking up to the fact that there's a real supply problem. And if they are, if they need to produce what they need to produce, being mandated by governments, they have to have supply chains, in their favor. And they're out there looking at miners right now, looking at mines, and we'll see how it all evolves. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some of these big, consumers of the metal starting to invest directly into the mining sector.
What do we need that silver finally breaks out? I told you my breakout level is $32 because everything, it looks like, we have the perfect ingredients on the table. It's like when I'm in my kitchen. Yeah, I have the ingredients there to do a wonderful 3 or 4 course dinner. And I know I can make it because I have everything there. We have the same here since years. We are on the deficits like unbelievable. It reminds me 2002, 3, 4. It was the same situation. But the silver price sits at $25. How could that be?
I think it's all sentiment. Because, sentiment drives markets. Fundamentals rarely drive markets because, people aren't aware of the fundamentals. Most investors out there don't read the fundamentals. They don't follow the fundamentals. So you and I know what the fundamentals are because we follow the sector. But investors won't come into the market until a headline shows up and says, hey, this investment's important that you need to own. And when it comes to silver, I was listening to a commentator just a couple of days ago, talking about the green revolution. And of course, they mentioned cobalt and copper and nickel and they didn't mention silver. And I go like, what the hell? Really? Like silver is the glue, right? Copper is the highway, silver is the glue. Without silver, nothing works. And these commentators don't get it. The second these commentators start talking about silver as the thing that holds the whole green revolution together, that's when you see investor demand coming into this market, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than we probably think. And I'm probably more excited about the silver space today than I ever have been in the last 20 years.
Same to me, definitely. Last question. Let's do a little bit of a look into the future. End of 2023, where do you see your company? Where do you want to see your company? What do you want to have really achieved?
Well, I think profitability is really key. 2022 was a challenging year for us, because the Jerritt Canyon, we spent a lot of money on Jerritt Canyon and it was losing, a fair amount of money as well. The Mexican operations are producing a lot of profits, which is fantastic, of course. But, we were, the profits from the Mexican operations were feeding Jerritt Canyon, right? Yeah. So now that Jerritt Canyon is just exploration, there's not the loss that's occurring as a result of the gold production there. We're expecting to see, some substantial profits coming to the business, and that's what I want to look at. That's what I want to see. And $2,000 gold, $25 silver, despite the fact I don't think $25 silver is fantastic, but still it's better than what it has been, over the last few years. So, the cash flows are going to be pretty exciting. And then next M&A transaction, we're looking very aggressively at a number of acquisitions right now, and primarily focused on the silver space. So, we'll see. I can't comment too much on that, but I think we're going to end 2023 on a pretty positive note.
Super. Last question, because it just comes to my mind, because I got it from a shareholder, I think yesterday. What's going on with the dividend in the future? Because they think it's too low.
Yeah, I've said many times that I want to see it increased. Me being a significant shareholder, of course, I'm selfish and I want to see it.
You like to have also cash, right?
I like to see it myself. Yeah. But as I said, it all comes down to profitability. Yeah. As the business develops and grows and the profits increase, we'll definitely increase that dividend. And I'd like to see it, 200 to 300% higher than where it currently is today. But it's going to take some time to get it there.
Okay, super. Keith, thank you very much. All the best, and please get Jerritt Canyon back. And also, let's hope that we get to $32 in silver, that we rock it.
I think it's going to happen before the end of the year.
Okay. Oh, nice. That's a great prediction. I love that. Thank you very much.
Great. Good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Keith Neumeyer, the CEO of First Majestic Silver. You heard it. $32 for the end of the year. That's a great prediction. I love that. I will hold that also. And sorry. And really, I like the company a lot, as it is one of the absolutely top primary silver producers in the world. But what is also important, focus is on profitability. Focus is on higher dividends in the future, and also Jerritt Canyon really to bring back into the production. And then there will be a real big growth profile in addition. But look at the share price. That's a great entry point. Don't complain about share prices. Do you want to buy high or low? So I think good time to really look at it. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Zurich.
Thank you.